In Remember the Titans, directed by Boaz Yakin, the movie stars Denzel Washington as the newly appointed African-American coach, Herman Boone. In 1971, T.C. Williams High School is ordered under federal mandate to integrate. Coach Boone works to overcome the racial hostilities between the African-American and white football players in Alexandria, Virginia. Initially, the members of the team frequently clashed due to racial tensions. However, both races experienced the forceful coaching of Boone and the aggressive training that leads both the black and white players to recognize a sense of unity through teamwork. In Mississippi Burning, directed by Alan Parker, FBI agents Alan Ward, played by Willem Dafoe, and Rupert Anderson, played by Gene Hackman, are sent to Jessup County, Mississippi to investigate the disappearance of 3 civil rights workers promoting voter registration for African Americans. The duo encounter hostility from the community and the county police. The agents focused on the leaders of Jessup County to investigate their relations with the KKK and the murders of the civil rights workers. As the investigation intensifies, the KKK launch a series of attacks against the local African American population. This causes Ward and Anderson to conflict over how to conduct the investigation, due to frustrations over the uncooperative community. However, the duo devise a plan to indict and prove the members of the Klan for the murders.
This week, their cause has been crippled. This week, all of these federal policemen you see out here prying into our lives, violating our civil liberties, have learned that they are powerless against us if every single Anglo-Saxon Christian one of us stands together.
During the civil rights movement of the 1960s, the struggle for black equality was fought profusely throughout Mississippi, and media at the time depicted the state as the most racist and vitriolic towards nationwide observers. Mississippi citizens attempted to preserve the segregated way of life through the use of violence and disenfranchisement against African Americans. Naturally, white Mississippians resisted the enactment of desegregation and voter registration, and argued that the national government was infringing upon the state's rights. During their investigation, Ward and Anderson observed the deeply rooted racism that prevails within the townspeople and the functioning of the community as a whole. In Remember the Titans, rather than the community defending their segregated way of life to the national government, Coach Boone and the successfully integrated team face scrutiny directly from the town. The football team is met with racial prejudice and backlash. Coach Boone and the team battle through discrimination and gradually gain support over the course of the season. This film reflects the changing attitudes and actions of African American and white community members as Alexandria ends segregation. In Mississippi Burning, agents Ward and Anderson often disagree on how to conduct the investigation. Since Agent Anderson was from Mississippi, he believes that he has a better understanding of the Southern way of life, and is dissatisfied with Ward wanting to work by the book. Similarly, in Remember the Titans, Coach Yost and Coach Boone often conflict due to their different styles of coaching.
Now you think you're doing these boys a favor, taking them aside every time I come down on them, protecting them from Big Bad Boone. You're cutting my legs from under me.
Some of the boys just don't respond well to public criticism. I tell them what they need to know, but I don't humiliate them in front of the team.
In both films, it is only when the two characters learn to depend on each other that they finally achieve their goals and dismantle the racial divide. In Mississippi Burning, director Alan Parker utilizes the long-shot framing technique to portray the outside perspective of the audience observing racial prejudice. In the opening shot of the film, the segregated drinking fountains represents the injustices of separate but equal prevalent throughout the South. However, in Remember the Titans, the director uses the over-the-shoulder framing technique to depict the racial conflict in Alexandria. For example, when African American football players attempt to eat at a whites-only restaurant, the owner dismisses them to maintain segregation. Both films end with funerals and conclude with people singing to commemorate the characters who encouraged the civil rights movement. This reflects the change in racial attitudes towards African Americans within the community.